Determined, he set a date to begin his search and asked for Amaka's forgiveness. Meanwhile, Olamma felt a mix of disappointment and frustration. She was upset that Nnamdi had kept such a significant secret from her. Adding to her distress was the realization that tradition allowed Nnamdi to take another wife, potentially dividing his affection and attention between two households. This prospect left Olamma feeling uneasy and insecure. On the day Nnamdi planned to visit Amaka and bring her home, he found himself confronted by Olamma, who stood by the door, hesitant to let him go. However, Nnamdi gently took her hand, meeting her gaze, and explained that he didn't know about Amaka's pregnancy at the time, and she had saved his life. He urged Olamma to understand his motives. Despite Olamma's reservations, Nnamdi set out on his journey. Upon arriving at Amaka's hut, he was greeted by a scene of neglect, with dried leaves and cobwebs covering the once familiar surroundings. Spotting two men nearby, Nnamdi approached one of them and inquired about Amaka. To his dismay, the man informed him that Amaka had passed away a few months earlier. Nnamdi's heart sank at the news of Amaka's passing. Overhearing the other man's lament, he reflected on Amaka's life of hardship and tragedy, orphaned at a young age, losing her only sister, and facing pregnancy and illness alone. As the man spoke, Nnamdi felt a wave of grief wash over him, tears streaming down his cheeks as he mourned Amaka's untimely demise. Unable to bear the weight of his emotions, Nnamdi crumbled to the ground, his servant trying in vain to offer support. His cries echoed in the air, a testament to the regret and sorrow consuming him. Minutes later, he composed himself, wiping away his tears and rising to his feet. He gently walked inside the hut. There, he found something shocking. Inside Amaka's hut, amidst the dusty silence, Nnamdi discovered a note that tugged at his heartstrings. With trembling hands, he unfolded the worn parchment and read Amaka's heartfelt words. My dearest Nnamdi, as I pen down these words, my heart is heavy with sorrow, yet filled with love for you and our precious boys. Though life has been unkind to me, I hold no bitterness in my heart. Instead, I am grateful for the moments of joy and the love we shared, however brief they may have been. I want you to know that I forgive you, Nnamdi, for any pain you may have caused me. Please forgive me for any pain I may have caused you as well. I understand that life's path is often fraught with challenges and difficult choices. Despite the hardships, I cherish the memories we created together and the beautiful souls we brought into this world. As I embark on my final journey, I carry with me the love we once shared and the hope for a better tomorrow. Please, Nnamdi, hold our boys close to your heart, and may they always know the depth of your love. With eternal love, Amaka. Reading these words, Nnamdi felt a mixture of emotions wash over him: grief, regret, and a newfound determination to hold Amaka's memory. He wished she was still alive so they could discuss better and make amends, but it was too late. Nnamdi vowed to cherish their sons and ensure they received the love and care they deserved. Meanwhile, Olamma's jealousy and resentment fastened, fueled by her fear of losing control over Nnamdi's wealth. Consumed by greed, she plotted to eliminate Ikenna and Arinze, viewing them as threats to her own son's inheritance. As the tension in the household mounted, Nnamdi grappled with his grief and the weight of his responsibilities as a father. Little did he know, the true test of his love and integrity lay just ahead as he confronted the darkness locking within his own home. Though his heart remained heavy with remorse, he managed to find his way home. As soon as he got home, Olamma noticed Amaka was not with him, and with his swollen eyes from crying, she could tell that Amaka had passed. This made her feel a bit relieved, but she grew increasingly unsettled by Nnamdi's newfound affection for the boys. Nnamdi tried to make the three boys, Ikenna, Arinze, and Ekene, understand that they are brothers and they should love each other regardless. He showed his sons equal love and affection, but Olamma still didn't care about the twins even after learning about their mother's demise. Ikenna and Arinze always tried to render any necessary help or support to their half-brother Ekene. Yet, Olamma continued to feel troubled with the thought that Amaka's sons would inherit the lion's share of Nnamdi's wealth as his firstborn sons. Nnamdi, undeniably affluent, with vast assets, including land, cattle, and yams. The prospect of losing her son's inheritance to Amaka's children plagued Olamma's mind, causing her to spiral into madness. How can they just come from nowhere and inherit what rightfully belongs to my son Ekene? I won't let that happen. Never. Consumed by fear and desperation, Olamma contemplated a drastic solution, eliminating Ikenna and Arinze to safeguard her own son's inheritance. Driven by obsession and greed, she resolved to act swiftly, unable to bear the thought of losing her hold on Nnamdi's wealth. Olamma, consumed by her dark intentions, sought out a friend equally as wicked as herself, obtaining poison overnight. Strangely, she found herself developing warmth and affection for the boys she had once wished to harm. Her sudden change of heart puzzled many neighbors who remarked on the newfound peace they anticipated for the boys. One day, while Ikenna and Arinze and Ekene were toiling away on the farm, Olamma prepared a meal for them. Following her usual routine, she used a large dish for Ikenna and Arinze and a smaller one for her son Ekene, making sure the boys knew which dish belonged to whom. She poisoned Ikenna and Arinze's meal before heading to the market with her neighbors. During the break on the farm, a paternal aunt of Ikenna and Arinze paid them a visit, inviting them to her house. Ekene, mindful of his mother's warning, declined the invitation, while Ikenna and Arinze accepted, enjoying a meal and palm wine at their aunt's house before returning to work alongside Ekene. After a few hours, they headed home, where Ikenna and Arinze, having eaten at their aunt's, weren't as hungry. They generously offered their share of the meal to Ekene, opting to eat from the smaller dish as a gesture of goodwill towards his mother. Gratefully, Ekene accepted, hungrily devouring most of the food, while Ikenna and Arinze only took a portion from the smaller dish. When Olamma returned from the market late in the evening, she expressed gratitude to the boys for their hard work on the farm. Turning to her husband, she requested that he offered them the palm wine he had set aside. Ikenna and Arinze eagerly accepted the offer, drinking heartily. However, Ekene declined, citing a sudden feverish feeling. Soon after, Ekene began to complain of a headache and upset stomach, followed by bouts of vomiting. Concerned, his mother hurried him to her hut, bombarding him with questions as she tried to ascertain the cause of his illness. Did you eat at someone else's house? Did anyone offer you palm wine or kola nut? Did you get into a fight? Did you encounter any evil spirits? With each unanswered question, her worry deepened. I'm sure this sickness started while you were working on the farm. I noticed you didn't eat much when you returned, Olamma speculated anxiously. You left some food in your small dish. But I ate well, mother. I was very hungry and finished almost all the food you gave Ikenna and Arinze, Ekene explained, interrupted by his mother's sudden outburst. What? What are you saying? "Did you eat from the large dish?" she demanded, her tone betraying a mix of shock and suspicion. "I was the only one who ate from that dish, mother. Ikenna and Arinze had already eaten at their aunt's, so they weren't very hungry when we got back. They insisted I take the big dish," explained Ekene. Olamma's heart sank at her son's revelation. Without wasting another moment, she dashed into the bedroom where Nnamdi was. Breathless, she exclaimed, "I think Ekene has been poisoned. His complexion has changed. He looks pale. I need to fetch the medicine man." With those words, she hurried out of the compound. Meanwhile, Nnamdi grappled with the gravity of the situation. Before he could decide on a course of action, the elderly medicine man arrived. Hastily, the medicine man began listing the ingredients needed for Ekene's cure. However, before he could finish, tragedy struck. Ekene succumbed to the poison. Overwhelmed with grief, Olamma wept uncontrollably, lamenting her loss and expressing her anguish. "I am not made of wood, yet I feel like a lifeless log, abandoned in the wilderness," she cried, her sorrow echoing through the air. As Nnamdi mourned the loss of his son, one of his friends, Chidi, urged him to investigate the true cause of Ekene's death. "The circumstances surrounding his death are suspicious, Nnamdi," Chidi insisted. "Your wife believes he was poisoned, and we can't ignore that possibility. You need to uncover the truth." Nnamdi hesitated, overwhelmed by grief and uncertainty. "I can't bear to think that someone would harm my son," he murmured, his voice heavy with sorrow. "But I can't bring myself to investigate further." Chidi persisted, his tone firm. "Nnamdi, the death of your son is too strange to ignore. Since he wasn't sick before, and Olamma suspects poison, you owe it to Ekene to find out what truly happened." Reluctantly, Nnamdi agreed to Chidi's request. Together, they sought the help of a renowned medicine man, known for his ability to communicate with the gods of the land. The medicine man, adorned in traditional regalia, spoke in a deep, resonant voice as he entered a trance-like state to commune with the spirits. Hours passed as the medicine man delved into the realm of the unseen, seeking answers to the mystery surrounding Ekene's death. Finally, with a start, he emerged from his trance, his eyes wide with astonishment. "The gods have revealed the truth," he announced solemnly. Ekene was indeed poisoned, but not by the hand of an outsider. The poison was administered by someone within this household. Nnamdi's heart clenched with disbelief, his mind struggling to comprehend the revelation. "But who could do such a thing?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. Just then, Olamma returned from the market, her expression one of shock as she witnessed the scene unfolding before her. "What is happening here?" she demanded, her voice trembling with apprehension. Chidi stepped forward, his gaze piercing as he addressed Olamma. "The truth has been revealed, Olamma," he declared gravely. "It was someone within this household who poisoned Ekene." Olamma's eyes widened in horror, her hands trembling as she struggled to comprehend the accusation. "No, it can't be," she protested weakly, her voice barely audible. But the medicine man's words echoed in the air, casting a shadow of suspicion over Olamma. "The gods do not lie," he intoned solemnly. "The truth has been spoken, and justice must be served." Sensing an opportunity to bring justice to Ekene's memory, Chidi suggested that the medicine man should impose a 7-day deadline for the culprits to come forward and confess. If they failed to do so, the repercussions would be there, as decreed by the spirits of the land. Despite the ominous warning, Olamma remained steadfast in her silence, unwilling to admit her guilt. Night after night, she tossed and turned, haunted by restless dreams and terrifying visions of the consequences that awaited her. As the 6th day drew to a close, the weight of her guilt became unbearable. With a heavy heart and tears streaming down her face, Olamma finally summoned the courage to confess her sins to Nnamdi. She recounted the events leading up to Ekene's death, admitting her role in poisoning the innocent boy. Nnamdi was stunned by the revelation, his heart heavy with grief, disappointment, and betrayal. What are your thoughts about this story? Leave a comment below the video. Thanks for watching.